Hopefully it's on. Yes. So we were talking 2 days ago about going from moles down to particles. And particles can be atoms, molecules, ions, or formula units. So we go between particles and moles. And there's 2 ways to get between particles and moles. Kind of joking like little buses. So if we're going from mole down to particle count, particles, it's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd over 1 mole. Wherever you're heading to goes on top. Whichever direction you're heading to, that's what goes on top. So if I'm going from particles to moles, 1 mole goes on top, and then 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles goes on the bottom. Does that make sense? So we know that 1 mole of anything equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd something. Just like a dozen something equals 12. A few of something equals 3. A couple of something equals 2. A couple, a dozen, a few, those are words to tell us numbers. A mole is a word to tell us a number. That's all it is. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, now we're going to go into a different area. So now we're going to look at, let's get this up here. Hello up there in non-school world. Here we go. Okay, so let's look at this. So, come on. So now you know how to do molar mass. Okay? Of course, I gotta turn this back on. Converting from moles to mass. Okay? So, when I go from moles to mass or mass to mole, I have to use the equivalent statement of this. 1 mole equals the molar mass. So, whatever the mass is of that substance equals 1 mole that you take off the periodic table. Okay, like the molar masses you just did. The units are grams per mole. Okay, grams per mole. So how many grams per 1 mole? That's the unit for molar mass. So here we are in Moleville. And here's Massland over here. There's 1 road that connects them. This road right here. If I'm going from mass to mole, what has to go on top? 1 mole. The mole goes on top and the molar mass goes on the bottom. The molar mass of whatever substance you're working with goes on the bottom. Okay? So wherever you're heading to goes on top. Yes? Now if I go the other way, moles down to mass, what goes on top? Molar mass. The molar mass goes on top over 1 mole. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So, if I do this, I should really have this thing up on it. So if I do this, lights on. If I say I've got 2.3 moles of PbI2 equals how many grams? What's the first thing I do? What's the first thing I do, Tim?
What's given? You would want to find the mass of each.
Well, what am I going to write down first, though?
Oh, the equation.
What am I going to write down the equation? What am I going to write down first?
Oh, you're trying to do it
What's the first thing I write down right here? What's the first thing I'm going to write down?
6.02.
Nope. Has nothing to do with it. Griffin?
What's given?
What's given? Always write your given first. Here's my given right here. So write down 2.3 moles of PbI2. And I want to multiply it by something. And guys, I expect you to write all this stuff out. I know you don't like it, but you have to do it. As I keep telling you, I know what's coming, and you will be very confused if you do not write this stuff out. Okay? So if I'm heading towards mass, grams, what's going to go on top up here? The molar mass. The molar mass of what? PbI2. So find the molar mass of PbI2 for me, would you please? So everyone should have your calculators out. You should have your periodic tables out. Let's see, everyone working on it. Yay. What'd you get, Kevin? Let me see how you put it in. Let me see how you put it in. So, where'd you get the 20.02 from? 207, yeah. Yeah. Okay, do you get 461? So you should have 461 grams. 461 grams of PbI2 over 1 mole. So I know 1 mole of PbI2 equals 461 grams. That way the mole up here on top and the mole down here on the bottom cancels out. Remember that from way back when? I think our second week of school? Yep. Top and bottom cancel out. I take 2.3 times 461. What do you get? 1060.30. So 1060.30 grams of PbI2. So you have to find the actual molar mass of the substances. Does that make sense? Yes? Now if I went the other way, okay, and I said, okay, you've got 352.15 grams of nitrogen. How many moles would that be? A lot. So what's the first thing I write down, Tim?
Given.
What's my given up here?
352.15 grams.
Perfect, thank you. 352.15 grams of nitrogen. Now I'm looking for what? Mole. So what goes on top over here? 1 mole. 1 mole goes on top. And since grams is up here, grams has to go down here. What number goes down here? Which is what? There's 2 of them. 28.02. Yeah, so you have to make sure there's 2 of them. So my grams cancel out. And we take 352.15 divided by 28.02. 12.57. So 12.57 moles. A lot of moles. That makes sense. Yes or no? Okay, let's practice some of those. Going to practice, mass 2 moles. Practice. I don't think it's going to work. There you go. And here it goes here.
That kind of hurts.
It does hurt.
Yeah,
I got a
you-
bruise on
you
my
did it
hand
backwards.
once. Why?
The holes were on the other side.
Why?
It bothers me.
Why with the holes in this? I mean,
Like,
I know, but it was on here too. It used to be a single side, so I did it. I went back to back instead. The pens. Okay. Give you about 10 minutes to do this. 10 minutes.
do we have to do the exam?
Excuse me?
Do we have to do the exam?
Oh, I gave that. Oh, you need one more. I thought I gave you 4. I thought. There you go. Okay. So let's see. So, Lynn, who's your partner? Savannah. That's it. You guys will have new partners on Monday. And if you're good, I'll let you choose your own, so think wisely about them. Emily, I think these are 2 that Crazy you missed, so I'm not quite sure.